Okay, so g'day everyone, welcome back to another Bush Creek fly tying tutorial. So in this tutorial, we're just doing this really simple, fairly quick a bug I call a Marabou bug, for no other reason than it seems like it's a good description. It's pretty straightforward. This is Marabou, and this one we're tying in brown olive, but you can try. It's one of those patterns where you can try sort of anything you like. You know, you can go with an olivey darn and mix up the colours, the beads and the dubbing, the ginger colour, and then you can golden olive instead, and you can just play around with the different types of colours of Marabou that you have, and even different dubbings. Just mix and match. It's pretty straightforward to tie, so we'll get on into it. So the hook I'm using is a Dahuku pupa hook in size 14. And just a countersunk bead, so whatever size bead that you want to put on it. You know, obviously you're probably going to vary the different sizes. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and put a tapered body and build up the body a bit. And for that I'm using some sort of body stretch material, and I'm really just going to come in behind the bead, put down a quick layer of a few layers of this body stretch. And just build up a taper here, and that's all I'm really doing. Is just taking some of the mass out of it, so I don't have to try and soak it up with the Marabou. Just backwards and forwards, just tapering it up, touching turns, not getting super specific about how smooth it is. Just want to build up this body, and just on about sort of third turn or third lap, I'm going to tie in the rib. Now for the rib of this, I'm using a fine copper wire for this one. I generally sort of match the rib to the bead, but you don't have to, of course. This one just happens to be fine copper wire. I'm just going to tie that in, and then just keep building up this taper, and just progressively sort of coming up shorter as I go, building that taper back up to the bead. You don't have to fill up the whole space, but you want to get a fair bit of it sort of taken out. We'll probably come back and then probably finish it about there. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do a couple of turns of whip finish to tidy up that stretch, take the tension out, and then trim that away. Just make sure I've got no little furry bits. So then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with next thread. Now I'm using some Semperfly Nano Silk here, just in white. You can use whatever thread you like, but you probably want a fine thread. And I'm just going to come in and catch that on and run that down, trim away that waste piece. And then I'm just going to bring that down a little bit further into the bend with the Nano Silk. Come up a little bit. So the body of this is just Marabou, no different than what you'd be using for your woolly buggers, etc. This one I'm using is brown olive. So all I do here is we just take away, sort of tease out. You want some long fibres, and how many you use and how many times you have to do this is going to be dependent on your Marabou. But you probably want about half a dozen or so, maybe 8 fibres of Marabou. Right, just pinch them away or trim them away, and then holding the ends, all I'm doing is just bringing the tips together, capturing it all in. Now I'm going to tie this in by the tip, so you can choose to trim the tip if you want or not. I'm just going to knock some of that away a little bit. And I'm just going to come in and capture this clump of Marabou in by the tip, and then just take out that slack and finish off tying it in, back around to the bend, and then from here I'm just going to tie that in and bring my thread all the way forward to the bead. So the Marabou, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this reversed so that I can then counter wrap it with my wire. So I'm just going to gather them all up, and really no different than if you're using a pheasant's tail or something similar. I'm just going to go and wrap this Marabou up the body. I'm not getting too carried away about what angle the fibres are at. I'm just wrapping it up. Come in, capture it in behind the bead. So turn over, a couple turns over the top, a couple turns to lock it in. So from here, it's going to come in. I'm going to trim away the butt of that marabou. And then I guess if you want to, you can just come in with a dubbing brush and just gently brush this out and just try and get as many of those marabou fibres up as you can. Some of them probably might have got trapped by the stems of the marabou as you've been tying it around. So just tease it up. You'll probably trap some more when we rib it anyway, but if you can get it all out, it's even better still. So the next step is pretty straightforward. We're just going to come in with our rib and just in open turns, as if you're no different than if you're doing any other hurl body and you're just doing counter ribs to help reinforce and protect that marabou, and just passing it through open turns, you know, a millimetre or two apart, all the way to the bead. Once I get to the bead, I'm just going to capture that wire with a couple of turns and then wire it away. And then from here you can go back again and just another quick brush just to make sure you've sort of pulled all those fibres that you might have caught with the ribbing. Try and tease them out as much as you can. It's not super critical, but you know, anything can help. And then finally just some UV ice dubbing or something similar. Really, you could use whatever you liked. I'm just using some some hand spectra. In this one's number 4. In the yellow, you usually look to try and either do one or two things. Either find a dubbing that complements the colours, or you go completely the other direction and you find a dubbing that contrasts with the colours. So this one, this yellowy orange sort of sunburst colour, I think works well with this. So just a small pinch, and I'm just going to come up and tie in a dubbing collar directly behind the bead. And a few turns to whip finish. Take tension out, and then one more, a couple more just to be sure. And then trim away the thread. And that's pretty much it. That's the marabou bug. So what you'll find is, you know, it'll fish fairly well. You know, the fibres themselves will sort of kick around a little bit in the current. It'll attract a little bit of air. That's the marabou bug. It's pretty straightforward to tie. You can quickly, you know, put out a bunch of them in different sizes, and they've proven to be fairly effective. All right. Hopefully it works for you if you try it. Let me know if it does. Otherwise, take care, tight lines.